ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाख्या चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदामयं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवां च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितां च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिकाकांत राधाकांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपया सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारणे। हरे कृष्ण। So the topic of today's class will be the most exalted Vaishnav and the ISKCON Acharya Srila Gour Govinda Swami Maharaj, whose disappearance day was on the same day when we celebrate the appearance day of Sri Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur. So he is one of the most prominent disciple of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada and a very great devotee of Radha Krishna and the most sincerely revered Vaishnav and Guru from ISKCON Parampara. So today we will discuss a brief life sketch of Gour Govinda Maharaj, and we will also try to discuss some of his teachings by reading some of his lecture transcripts and some of his views what he has given on different tattvas in his book, which is named as When Good Fortune Rises. So His Divine Grace Gour Govinda Swami Maharaj appeared in a Vaishnava family on 2nd September 1929, and his name was Braja-bandhu. He appeared in the village which is near the Jagannatha-puri Dham, which is called as Jagannatha-pura. And fascinatingly, he was a descendant from a Giri family. So there is a place nearby Jagannatha-puri which is called as Gadai-giri. So he was a descendant from that Gadai-giri, because his mother was a descendant from a Gadai-giri. So Braj-bandhu, which is his childhood name, he spent a lot of time playing at his mother's place, which is at Gadai-giri. His grandfather, which means his mother's father, was a great deity and used to chant Hare Krishna Maha-mantra and usually cry before the Lord, which is the famous deity which is called as Gopalju, which are their family deity of Gadai-giri. So his grandfather taught Braj-bandhu how to chant Hare Krishna Maha-mantra by chanting on the fingers in the company of his uncles, which means in the company of his mother's father and his cousin uncles. He was chanting Hare Krishna Maha-mantra. He used to travel with them. He used to sing songs of Narottam Das Thakur. And this Giri family is very well known because they were renowned Kirtanyas of their time, and they used to perform Kirtan throughout the Orissa from the time of Shyamananda Prabhu. 300 years ago, the King of Orissa himself has written that whenever the Kirtan has to be performed in the temple of Lord Jagannath, then the people from Gadaigiri, that is from their clan only, has to be called for performing any Kirtan. So this traces back the history of Gour Govinda Maharaj, that his maternal side, they were the traditional Kirtanyas of that time, and they used to play Kirtan both in Jagannath-pura and throughout the Orissa, singing songs and hymns in the praise of Lord Krishna, Jagannath and Subhadrama. So from the age of 6, Braja-bandhu worshipped the deity of Gopal. He used to worship the deity from the age of 6. He used to make candles for them. He used to make garlands for them. He used to sing hymns for them, and he would never ever take the food before it is being offered to Gopal. So by the age of 8, he was very well versed by reading Bhagavad-gita, Srimad-bhagavatam and Sri Caitanya-caritamrta. So these all three are very difficult and important scriptures to understand, but by the age of 8, he was well versed with all of these three important shastras, which includes Bhagavad-gita, Bhagavatam and Sri Caitanya-caritamrta, and he could explain them by giving even the meaning, purport and explanation of each and every shlok mentioned in these. At the night, villagers would gather around him, and he would recite the stories and shloks and give interpretations from Bhagavatam, from Ramayana, from Mahabharata. So from the beginning only we found that apart from studying the routine school curriculum books, he was also interested in studying Vaishnava literature, and he was always immersed in by worshipping his beloved Gopal, which is Gopalji, a deity of Shri Krishna. He was never interested in playing with other boys and to see cinema in the theatres. So he was very much immersed in the devotion of Krishna from childhood. So we see that all these characteristics of a great Vaishnava, they were actually present him from his childhood, and because of his upbringing, he was always immersed in the teachings, in the listening of Srimad-bhagavatam, Bhagavad-gita and Caitanya-caritamrta. So his father died in 1955, and being the eldest son of the family, he took the responsibility of whole of the family. And later he entered into Grihastha ashram and he married. His wife's name was Srimati Vasanti Devi. And he was very much fond of studying, but because of some financial constraints, he could not formally enroll into a university, but he attended privately to some of the he enrolled himself to participate as a private examination. So he first obtained a degree of BA from Utkal University, and the second highest rank in the exam, and later he also obtained a B.Ed degree, and he took the profession of a school teacher in a nearby school. So despite all these responsibilities, his devotion towards his beloved Gopal or Krishna was never slackened. He was always attentive. He always rise at 3. He always his daily routine that he usually rise daily at 3:30 a.m. in the morning, chant Hare Krishna Maha-mantra. Then he worship Tulsi Devi. Then he speak about Bhagavad-gita to his family. In school, whenever he is teaching the different subject, whether it is geography and history, but whenever he finds free time, whenever he feels free, he always like to speak to his student about the Krishna and his devotional principles, about Krishna Leela, about Chaitanya Leela. So whenever he used to get time, he also discusses with his students about all these different Leelas which were performed by Lord Krishna, and he also discussed Krishna's pastimes with his student. So whenever there are summer breaks, just like now we have summer breaks and winter breaks. So whenever there were summer breaks, what he used to do, he used to take his wife on the pilgrimages where they visit different Himalayas, where they visit different tirths with different ashrams, and he would also engage sometimes in the philosophical debates with the Mayavadis. The Mayavadis are explained which follows the Advaita Siddhanta. So he generally used to have a philosophical debates with them and discuss the perspective of both the Mayavadis, and used to explain what is his perspective, or what is the Vaishnava perspective on this philosophy. On 8 April 1974, at the age of 75, Braja-bandhu, who is our Gour Govinda Maharaj himself, he left his home in pursuit of spiritual seeking. He left his home to seek ultimate truth. That is, he began his spiritual journey. And before leaving his home, he named himself as Gour Gopalanand Das, and he carried with himself with only one Bhagavad-gita and one begging bowl. So he wandered throughout the India. He visited many sacred places around the Ganges river. He was actually looking for a spiritual master whom he could surrender, and he could understand what is the purpose of his life, and he want to have a deep understanding of a Maha-mantra. So during his, because he belongs to such a spiritual family from the beginning, we know that he could recite Bhagavad-gita, he could recite Caitanya-caritamrta, he could recite Srimad-bhagavatam by the age of 8 and 6, but he was not always satisfied with all the studies he has done. He was not satisfied with any of the sadhus whom he has met, because he met most of the prominent sadhus from Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya during Orissa and other places, but there was no one who could actually touch his heart, and there is no one actually who could explain him. So he was actually seeking the spiritual perfection while roaming here and there throughout the Himalayas and throughout India. So finally, after he left his home, after almost 1 year, seeking for the spiritual master and seeking for the ultimate truth and looking forward for his spiritual journey, he finally reached Vrindavana, where he thought he was actually certain that he could fulfill his dream for attaining the ultimate aim of the life, which is to understand the Krishna. So during that time only, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada, founder of ISKCON, he was having some program in the Vrindavan. So our Braja-bandhu Das, he saw one of the hoardings with the name of International Society for Krishna Consciousness, founder Acharya, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And he saw a couple of Western devotees who were actually distributing the book. We all know the book, which is Back to Godhead. So they were distributing one of the editions of that book, and somehow Braja-bandhu, or our Sri Gour Govinda Maharaj, took that book and he started reading. So when he was actually reading the content of the magazine, by the grace of Lord Krishna, his heart became anxious and he wanted to meet the editor of the book, because he was thinking that actually what he was searching, he could actually correlate with the teachings and what was written in that magazine. So his basic instinct was that he wanted to meet with the editor of the magazine, which is Srila Prabhupada. So after taking appointment, he went to Srila Prabhupada, and as soon as he entered the Srila Prabhupada room, he introduced himself that I am this. So after seeing him, so this is the most, we could say that is the most important part of what the brief sketch we are discussing about Shri Gour Govinda Maharaj. So as soon as he entered and he introduced, Srila Prabhupada asked him the question, have you taken sannyas? So Prabhupada directly asked Gour Gopalanand Das, which is our Shri Gour Govinda Maharaj, have you taken sannyas? So when Shri Gour Govinda Maharaj told no, then Srila Prabhupada answered that I will give you sannyas, which is how Srila Prabhupada reciprocated to Shri Gour Govinda Swami Maharaj. So this is, we see how in Hindi we call it Trikaladarshi, who can see the future, past and even the present of a actual devotee. So here we see that Srila Prabhupada could actually understand without seeing him that he is a spiritual seeker, and he has come here to seek his blessing and to surrender unto him. So as soon as he saw Gour Govinda Maharaj at once, Srila Prabhupada said that I will give you sannyas, don't worry. And from that time, Shri Gour Govinda Maharaj surrendered his life to the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada and became his foremost and most lovable disciple. In 1975, so when we go to Mathura, Vrindavan, we have a temple of ISKCON which is called as Shri Krishna-Balaram Mandir, famously called as Angrejon ka Mandir in Vrindavan. So when the opening of this temple was there in 1975, Srila Prabhupada awarded him the sannyas order after to Shri Gour Govinda Maharaj, and he sent him to Orissa to build a new temple at Bhubaneswar, which was the property which was recently donated to ISKCON by some community. So Srila Prabhupada wanted a temple to be built in Bhubaneswar. So entrusting that responsibility, Srila Prabhupada sent Shri Gour Govinda Maharaj along with 2 or 3 disciples to Bhubaneswar, and he ordered Shri Gour Govinda Maharaj to perform 3 tasks. The first one was to build a temple in Bhubaneswar. Second one he wanted his books, that is Srila Prabhupada's books, to be translated in Oriya language. So Shri Gour Govinda Maharaj was entrusted with 3 tasks. One was to build a temple in Bhubaneswar. Second is to translate the books from English to Oriya written by Srila Prabhupada. And third one was to preach throughout the world. Preach in English throughout the world. So these were the 3 tasks which were entrusted by Shri A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada to our beloved Shri Gour Govinda Maharaj. So if we look into that history, you will find it very fascinating. When that temple land, which we see a very beautiful temple, if we go to Bhubaneswar now, when the time it was donated, actually it was very far from the city. The city was not well developed during that time. It is actually a jungle which was full of mosquitoes, dangerous animals, snakes and scorpions. It was so far from the city that during the daytime also people were afraid to visit that place. But because his spiritual master has given such an important task to him, so meditating on Srila Prabhupada's name, Gour Govinda Maharaj came to Orissa, came to that piece of land, and with firm determination he started to raise funds. He started to contact people how we can build a temple in Bhubaneswar. So during that time, when there was, if now we find it very easy. Whenever we want to go to Vrindavan, whenever we want to go to Mathura, we can take the expressway, we can go by car, we have wonderful hotels, we have wonderful ashrams, we have every facility available. If you go to ISKCON temples also, there are a lot of guest houses available. So everything is there available and we can go anytime, whenever we want. But that time it was very difficult. So we have to actually appreciate the hard work and the commitment which is being done by these such exalted Vaishnavas, because of which we are privileged now that we can get darshan to our beloved Radha Shyam Sundar, Gaur Nitai, anytime, Jagannath, Balbal, Subhadra, Maran, anytime, whenever you want. But if you look the hard work and the hard work which has gone in the development of these temples, you will find it very fascinating and interesting that so much has been done so that now we can worship these our deities. Same goes with the story of this. If we talk about this ISKCON temple, how much the devotees have to work, how much they have to seek several restrictions from the police, how much they have to face the opposition from the local inhabitants. So all these things we have to keep in mind whenever we visit these temples. So whenever we should always appreciate the hard work done by our Vaishnavas for benefit of us. So when Shri Gour Govinda Maharaj was staying there, sometimes he used to stay in the storeroom, sometimes he used to stay at the tea vendor side, and sometimes he also used to share a small hut where the other construction workers were staying, so that he could look after the progress made for the temple. So at that place only he prepared a small hut for himself, and as Srila Prabhupada has ordered to him, he started translating the Oriya books into English. During daytime, he would also visit from house to house, office to office, so that he could collect the donations, and the temple can be constructed on that donated land. So when he was staying during that place, he prepared a thatched hut on the donated property where he used to stay, and he used to translate the translate the books into the Oriya into Oriya language. And you will be surprised to know that he has made a vow that he has a certain quota of the books, he has a certain quota of the pages or the text which needs to be translated from English to Oriya. So unless and until he has translated that number of quota, for example, if he has decided that he will translate 20 pages today, so unless and until he has translated 20 pages today, he would not eat anything. So this was his dedication towards his spiritual master, that is A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada. So after entrusting this responsibility in early 1977, Srila Prabhupada wanted to visit to Bhubaneswar to see how the arrangements are going on. So because Srila Prabhupada is coming, so for his stay, the arrangements were made in the state guest house. But immediately at that moment, Srila Prabhupada rejected that offer. He said that I will not stay in the guest house. I will stay in the hut which is built by my dear disciple Gour Govinda Maharaj. He has built a mud hut for me. I will stay here. So Srila Prabhupada stayed in Bhubaneswar for 17 days. And during that time only, he started translation work on the 10th canto of the Srimad-bhagavatam. And on the auspicious occasion of Sri Nityananda's appearance day, he led the foundation of the temple to be his last founded project. So this was the last project which was actually inaugurated by Srila Prabhupada during his lifetime, that is the temple of Bhubaneswar. So you could see the mutual exchange of love and the respect which the disciple and guru have for each other, that when Srila Prabhupada was offered to stay in the state guest house, he outrightly rejected that offer. He said that I want to stay only in the hut which is built by my beloved disciple Gour Govinda Maharaj, and during 17 days he stayed at place only. So this is what we were talking about, only the very brief. So if we talk about that, his life sketch is like an ocean. So we are talking only about a 1 or 2 drops, because it is not possible to cover his entire biography during this short class. If you want to have a better idea, I would suggest you go through the book which is the God When Good Fortune Arises, in which you will find the detailed happenings and details of his entire life, and in the second part you will find his important teachings. So that is a very important book if you want to have. So further going ahead, if you want to see, during his visit in Mayapur, which is in 1979, Gour Govinda Maharaj was attending a Kirtan at the ISKCON Mayapur temple, and during attending Kirtan, he suddenly felt unconscious. He was carried back to his room by several ISKCON leaders and the concerned devotees. So when doctors were called to understand actually what has happened, so no one could explain them. And the people looking after Maharaj, they started thinking that it might be possible that Maharaj has been possessed by some ghost. Some ghost has entered into the body of Maharaj. That's why he is showing such type of symptoms. But when this thing is happening, so finally the ISKCON devotees called the Caitanya-caritamrta Babaji Maharaj, who is a god brother of Srila Prabhupada. So when Caitanya-caritamrta Babaji Maharaj saw Gour Govinda Maharaj, he at once understood, because he himself is a very great Vaishnava, he himself understood that he is not possessed by any ghost, and similarly he is not suffering from any of the ailment. But the thing is that he is manifesting the symptoms of bhava, which is the advanced stage of ecstatic love towards Radha Krishna, which means when one enters bhava, so this can be understood with the same thing, that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reached Jagannath temple, just after seeing Jagannath, he fainted at once, and the people there, Sarvam Bhattacharya and rest, couldn't understand actually what has happened. So this is the condition called as bhava, which is the highest stage of ecstatic love towards Radha Krishna, which one feels towards towards Krishna. So when Akinjan Das Babaji Maharaj saw him, he immediately understood that he is not suffering from any ghost, he is not suffering from any ailment, he is actually in the state of bhava. So from that day when he returned back to Bhubaneswar, one could find him even more immersed in the Krishna Prem, and so he was so austere that that many of the Western devotees were sent to work with him during the construction of temple in the Bhubaneswar. But most of them could not tolerate such austere and such difficult conditions and generally come back to Mayapur or from wherever they have come. The disciples, the devotees who were staying there with him, they were surprised to see, they were amazed to see that he was never disturbed. He would eat only once a day and he would never sleep. He would simply preach, chant and write in his both notebooks both day and night. So if you go through several lectures which are available on YouTube of Gour Govinda Maharaj, you will see that actually he has beautifully taken many notes. So there are a lot of books, lot of notes which he generally take with himself whenever he used to preach about Srimad-bhagavatam, and on whichever subject he used to take lecture, he generally referred to those notes which he has prepared. So what Srila Prabhupada has also ordered him, that apart from establishing temple, apart from translating his books into Oriya, he also need to preach vigorously all over the land of Orissa and also outside India. So he started several Padayatra festivals, he started several Namhat program, and that involves thousands and thousands of people, and where he used to discuss the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he used to discuss the pastimes of Shri Krishna, he used to deliver lectures on Srimad-bhagavatam, and he used to teach people to chant Hare Krishna Maha-mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this we have also discussed earlier, that Srila Prabhupada has entrusted him with 3 of his works, and all the 3 he did with great austerity, with great dedication, with great determination throughout his lifetime. And again we want to highlight that because he has taken a vow that after translating only the given quota of pages, then only he will take the food. So this he followed throughout the last day of his life, because so the devotees were actually struck, because when Shri Gour Govinda Maharaj started to travel outside India, taking long international flights, then also he would not take any food, then also he would not take any eatable unless and until he has translated a given amount of quota which he has fixed for himself into Oriya. So this was his hard work and dedication towards his spiritual master A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and this practice he maintained till last day. In 1985, Gour Govinda Maharaj started traveled across the world for preaching. He was so much enthusiastic in saying Krishna Katha that for next 11 years he continued giving different lectures, different discourses, different congregational meetings with his disciples over Krishna Katha. And during that time he was actually suffering with a crippling leg injury, but this also couldn't stop him from delivering the discourses, from delivering the lectures on Krishna Prem. So here also we should understand that when a Vaishnava preaches, when an actual devotee of Krishna preaches, so all the Vaishnava parampara is actually behind him. This which we have also discussed during our class on when we talk about the on the appearance day of Sri Bhaktivedanta Thakur, that in his dream he saw that actually all Panchatattva, that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Nityananda Prabhu, Shri Advaitacharya, Shri Vas Pandit, Gadadhar Pandit, Narottam Das Thakur, Jagannath Das Babaji, Gaur Kishore Babaji, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, everyone was with Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, and they said that you start preaching, we are back, we are with you. So whenever any person with a great zeal and determination want to preach about Krishna consciousness, want to talk about Krishna, so all the Vaishnava Acharya actually bless him, all the Vaishnava Acharya empowers him, all the Vaishnava Acharya gave his all the blessings, so that in spite of all any of the physical constraint, any of the ailment, he can speak like anything. And when we talk about Gour Govinda Maharaj, we generally refer to him as a Lion Guru. So Bhaktivedanta Sri Thakur Maharaj was also called as a Lion Guru, because when he used to teach, he used to preach so vigorously, he used to preach so enthusiastically. He shattered all the false conceptions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He shattered all the misconceptions about Krishna which were prevailing those times. So in the same pattern, our Gour Govinda Maharaj was preaching for 11 years like anything, in spite of his crippling leg injury. And you always need a personal, always for leaving behind his personal inconvenience, he dedicated his life totally to Shri Radha Krishna. And if you would listen to him, so he was very meek and humble when he is dealing personally, when he is talking personally. But during the Srimad-bhagavatam class, you will find him roaring like a lion. He smashed all the proud and misconceptions from the heart of listener which were there. So a true guru or a true speaker is that when you listen to him, so when all the misconceptions which might be in your heart, after listening to that, when it goes away, then actually we can say that you are listening from a right person. So in the same line, whenever he used to speak, so he used to smash the pride with all the misconceptions from his listener's mind, and he totally surrendered to the lotus feet of Shri Krishna. He used to say that day without a Krishna Katha is a very bad day. And if you see his lectures, if you go through the YouTube channel, you will find it suddenly when he was speaking, he would suddenly start singing a song. So he was in so much ecstasy that he wants other disciples, he wants his devotees also to immerse into that nourishing environment, devotional sentiment of humility, and surrender to the feet of other acharyas and guru. So you will see that in the middle of his lecture, he would suddenly started singing Vaishnav songs which are of Narottam Das Thakur, Bhaktivedanta Thakur, and other Vaishnava Acharya. And the most importantly, whenever he used to give lectures, whenever he used to give different talks on different spiritual subjects on Srimad-bhagavatam, he used to quote the spiritual scriptures. So that is very important. Generally, we see that when we listen to several talks, so people are not able to give the reference from which they are talking. But he was so formidable in his speech, he was so wonderful in the scriptures that he could conclude by giving the examples from which scriptures one has taken. He used to say, one who cannot see Krishna is a blind man. So one who cannot see Krishna is a blind man. He may speak about Krishna, but in his mind he is speculating. Therefore his words would never be effective. A real sadhu never speaks theoretically. He will always teach practically. So this is what he used to say to his devotees. This also what we have discussed earlier, that he used to maintain a diary in which he makes each entry what he has done. Whatever service he has done, he enters into that. And he prays to Gopal that please give me association of like-minded devotees. So he was always immersed in this his dedication towards Shri Krishna. Taking the orders of his spiritual master, finally it was in 1991 on the auspicious occasion of Ram Navami, which is the appearance day of Shri Ramchandra, that after 16 years of determination, Shri Gour Govinda Maharaj could fulfill the instruction, and there was a opening of magnificent Shri Krishna-Balaram temple in Bhubaneswar. And since that time, Shri Krishna-Balaram has grown into a very flourishing project where we see thousands and hundreds of visitors every year. But instead of this also, he never gave up his simple lifestyle. So whenever I was there, he never kept a simple lifestyle. So after all these buildings was done, till then also he was living in the same hut which was built 16 years before. He didn't ask his devotees to build a separate room, to build a very convenient place where he could sit, where he could live in a very you can say convenient way, but he used to live in the same hut which was built 16 years before. Several times it was requested to give him the managerial responsibilities, but he always refused. What he used to say, that I am not a manager, I am a preacher. But after some time, when the temple where he has spent his childhood, which is his Gadaigiri from maternal side, so when ISKCON took over, he took the responsibility of one more project, that he want to build a temple, a magnificent temple for Gopalji, which is in Gadaigiri near Bhubaneswar. Gour Govinda Maharaj used to say, which is in words I am quoting, I have opened a crying school here in Bhubaneswar. Unless we cry for Krishna, we cannot get his mercy. So you will see that he is talking about something which is actually the core philosophy of Vaishnavism. Here he is saying that he has opened a crying school. Crying school means it doesn't mean that we go there and cry. So this crying is not which will come, or which is like a fake crying, that just for the sake of crying we are crying. Here he is actually quoting that when there is no duplicity in our heart, he used to quote this. Whenever there is no duplicity in heart, when we are not crooked in mind, when we are very humble, what is in our heart is in our mind, what is in our mind is in our tongue. In that condition only person is able to actually cry, which is selfless, and that crying is only for to getting the eternal love of Shri Radha Krishna. So when a person has attained this stage that he is crying for Krishna, then there is no chance that he will not get Krishna during his lifetime. So this is the message he preached throughout his lifetime for the last 10 years, that he has opened a crying school for Krishna, and anyone who is very determined to get Krishna should come and take part in this. So in late January 1996, he used to say that Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Thakur has left the material world because that place was not suitable for gentlemen like him. So he also sometimes say to his devotees that before he was disgusted, he will also leave this world. So he used to say that I may also leave. I don't know when with this, but let me ask Gopal that when he gives permission for me to leave this world. Next day, Gour Govinda Maharaj was in Gadaigiri, as he was talking to his devotees, to his disciples, that he will go to Gadaigiri. After returning from there, next 4 days he preached more powerfully. Thousands of people came to Bhubaneswar, attending the centennial festival of Srila Prabhupada, and then he left for the annual ISKCON management meetings to Shri Dham, Mayapur. So on 9th February 1996, which is the holy appearance day of Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Thakur, two senior ISKCON devotees requested an early appointment. They want to meet Shri Gour Govinda Maharaj in his room. He is staying in a room in Shri Mayapur temple premises only. So two of the senior devotees of the ISKCON they have not met personally with Gour Govinda Maharaj. So they seek time from his assistant, they seek time from their secretary, so that they can meet Maharaj whenever he is free. They only heard about him of speaking his books, listened to his lectures, but they wanted to meet him. So when they entered his room, they inquired, why did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stay in Jagannath-pura? So we have seen that during the lifetime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he spent a large amount of time of his life living in Jagannath-pura. So the questions which devotees asked to Gour Govinda Maharaj was that why did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stay in Jagannath-pura? So seeing that, listening to that question, Gour Govinda Maharaj began to explain the confidential significance that why Mahaprabhu actually lived in the Jagannath-puri. He then described the pain felt by Radha when Krishna was away from Vrindavan. So this moving pastimes appears in the chapter 8 of the Embankment of Separation, which is a wonderful book written by Sri Gour Govinda Maharaj. So when he is explaining these intimate pastimes, that how Radha Rani felt pangs of separation when Krishna left for Vrindavan and other things. So he became very ecstatic, and then he was explaining that when Radharani actually, and when Sri Krishna was also away from Radharani, he described how Krishna became so ecstatic that he manifested in the form with big round eyes and shrunken limbs. That in the separation of Radharani, he was so immersed, Krishna was so immersed that the tears were coming from his eyes, his voice was choked up. Maharaj couldn't explain, but that's why he explained it during that course only how Jagannath appeared. So when he was explaining, his voice actually choked, he could hardly be audible, and then he said, he apologized with his folded hand and then said, "Please excuse me, I cannot speak further." And then he gave final instructions to his surrounding devotees, and he asked for Kirtan so that the devotees could start performing Kirtan. The devotees started performing Kirtan, and Maharaj lay quietly in his bed, when he was breathing very slowly and deeply. He asked one of his servants to place a picture of his deity Gopalju in his hand. Then gazing, after seeing the Gopalju's picture, his worshipable deity, Gour Govinda Maharaj loudly called out Gopal, and saying Gopal, he finally departed the spiritual sky and united with his beloved Lord in the ultimate service of Shri Krishna in Golok Dham, and he entered into his Leela, which is Nitya, that is, which is continuously going on. So every day during Srimad-bhagavatam class, Gour Govinda Maharaj would used to sing an Orissa song, which he has learned from his childhood from his maternal uncle. So now his prayers are fulfilled. So we'll just see how this song goes on. It is in Oriya. I would try to speak, and then we will understand its translation in English. So he used to sing, "Paramanande he Madhava, Pandu Gulichi Makaranda, Semakaranda Panakari, Anande Bolo Hari Hari. Harinka Naam Vande Vela, Parikrave Chaka Dola. Se Chaka Dolanka Payare, Manamu Rahu Nirantare. Manamu Nirantare Rahu, Ha Krishna Bolo Jiva Jau. Ha Krishna Bolo Jau Jiva, Mote Udhare Radha Dhava. Mote Utare Radha Dhava, Mote Utare Radha Dhava." So the translation of this English explains, "O supremely blissful Madhav, the nectar is coming from your lotus feet. Drinking that nectar, I blissfully sing Hari Hari." So this song actually speaks about the sweet nectarian love which a devotee has for Shri Krishna. So he is saying, "O supremely blissful Madhav, the nectar is coming from your lotus feet, and after drinking that nectar, I am blissfully singing Hari Hari. I am binding a raft on which Lord Jagannath will ferry me across the ocean of material existence. By the grace of your name, by the grace of your holy name, by your blessings, I am trying to make a boat. I am trying to build a raft so that I can cross this ocean of material existence, which is called as Bhav Sagar. So by your blessings, by your by your blessings, and I will be able to make a boat so that I can ferry across the ocean of material existence." Then this song further explains that, "May my mind be always engaged in the lotus feet of Lord Jagannath, who has round eyes, and in this way I called Shri Krishna to please deliver me. So this song he used to sing from childhood, and we could understand that when he used to sing this song, so how beautiful this song is, and ultimately we see how Shri Gour Govinda Maharaj left this material world and entered into the eternal Leela, eternal pastimes of Shri Krishna during his in Golok Vrindavan. So this is a very brief sketch, life sketch of Shri Gour Govinda Maharaj, whose disappearance day was on the same day when we have appearance day of Shri Bhaktivedanta Sri Thakur Prabhupada Maharaj. So this is only a small, just we discussed earlier, this is only a small, we have tried to understand a brief, a very broad life sketch of a very exalted and a very great Vaishnava in about half an hour. But it is, we cannot explain if we want to go into the detail how his pastimes were. So I would recommend that you all go through the book, which is a name coming by the name When Good Fortune Rises. You will be actually understanding what actually, how he has dedicated his entire life to his revered Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada. So after completing his brief life sketch, now we will try to discuss some of his we're trying to understand some of his important teachings he has given on different topics. So this we will actually take by quoting his transcript, and it will not take much of time, but it will around 15-20 minutes. We'll just try to summarize what his important teachings were on different aspects. So we know that he is a very prominent teacher of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, and this is another important thing that we have to understand, that during that time when Srila Prabhupada also left this material world and entered into the eternal pastimes of Sri Radha Krishna. So at that time ISKCON was actually facing a lot of setback, where a lot of devotees, where a lot of people were going here and there, because suddenly when Guru departs from this material world, so devotees and disciples have do not understand where they can go, where they can have answers of their spiritual queries, who will guide them. So this was a time when people were running here and there. At that time it was only Gour Govinda Maharaj who said very strongly that there is nothing you have to worry, you just need to stay in ISKCON, and everything is there. Whatever you want to understand philosophically, whatever you want to progress spiritually, everything is there in the ISKCON. So he was such a strong binding force during the time when Srila Prabhupada left this material world, and we can say that he was actually able to contain all the devotees. He was able to contain all the serious disciples into one pool, so that they are not scattered when our beloved his beloved Guru A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada left this material world. So we know that he is a very prominent teacher, and he has given knowledge on different tattvas, which is Guru Tattva, Bhagavat Tattva, Vaishnav Tattva, Nam Tattva, Jeev Tattva, Gaur Tattva and Prema Tattva. So we'll just have a brief glimpse of all these things. So but when we talk about the Guru Tattva, so Shri Gour Govinda Maharaj is saying that his divine grace revealed through Shastric evidences that the bona fide Guru, Sadguru, is Krishna Kripa Shri Murti, is the embodiment of Krishna's mercy. Sarupa Shakti Pushta Parikara, empowered by the eternal energy of the Lord, Mukunda Preshta, very dear to the Supreme, Lord Mukunda bestows the liberation from material bondage. Gaura Priyajana, very dear to Gauranga Mahaprabhu, and he is Radha Priya Sakhi, a dear intimate maid servant of Srimati Radharani. In other talks and lectures quoting from the Shastra, Shri Gour Govinda Maharaj would patiently explain that he can gain the highest benefit from Guru by becoming a Premi Bhakta. In Caitanya-caritamrta Antya Leela, a Premi Bhakta is described by a one who is attached to Krishna by love. After hearing his confidentially imparted knowledge, devotees would realize the position of a guru is very exalted and could not be imitated. Gour Govinda Swami confirmed for many of the absolute necessity of accepting a bona fide spiritual master, Sadguru. After many of his sannyas Guru God brothers fell from their positions, he presented in 1989 information on the subject of Guru Tattva to the GVC members in order to console Srila Prabhupada's grand disciple, so that they could not lose their faith in Krishna consciousness and spiritual life. This information has since been printed in a booklet and is available for free distribution. Then we talk about the Bhagavad Tattva. Shri Gour Govinda Swami explained that Shri Vyasadeva gave the essence of all the Vedic literatures in the form of Srimad-bhagavatam. So if we go to Srimad-bhagavatam, we see that when Shri Vyas has compiled all the Veds, when he has given Vedanta Sutra, so still he was not fully satisfied. So Lord Narad appears before him and he says that you have to develop a scripture which talks about the loving relation of Shri Krishna and his pastimes. So then you read Srimad-bhagavatam. So here Gour Govinda Maharaj is laying importance on the fact that there is no difference between Srimad-bhagavatam and Lord. Srimad-bhagavatam is one of the forms of the Lord and is therefore it is non-different from him. So Srimad-bhagavatam and Lords are not separate from each other. Hearing Srimad-bhagavatam from a pure Vaishnava, that is a Bhakta Bhagavat, is more important. Which means that if we want to understand Srimad-bhagavatam, we have to hear from a bona fide guru, from a bona fide disciple. So it is called as the Bhakta Bhagavat. One will develop attachment or taste for hearing Krishna for Srimad-bhagavatam only when he hears from a bona fide disciple or a devotee of Shri Krishna. So Shri Gour Govinda Maharaj always laid emphasis that we should read, we should hear Srimad-bhagavatam daily. Nitya Bhagavat Sevya. And then he said that there are two types of Bhagavad Granth. One is Granth Bhagavat, which we call as the book Bhagavat, and second is the Bhakta Bhagavat, which is called as the devotee Bhagavat, who is embodiment of Bhagavatam. So whenever he used to take any of the class, he used to recite verses in the praise of Srimad-bhagavatam from Caitanya-caritamrta. He would emphasize and say, Yaha Bhagavata Pada Vaishnavare Sthana. If you understand Srimad-bhagavatam, then you must go and approach a self-realized Vaishnava and hear from him. So this is what we have discussed earlier, that actually we want to understand the Bhagavatam, then we have to approach a self-realized Vaishnava and we can hear this from him. The Sadhu also speaks only a Krishna Katha, Hari Katha and Bhagavad Katha. Therefore, by associating with the Sadhu, that is the Uttama Adhikari Vaishnava, then only we can understand the Srimad Bhagavatam. Otherwise, it is very important for us, because when we hear the Srimad Bhagavatam from the authentic source, then whatever doubts are in our mind, they are all dispelled. Here he also mentioned that Tattva should always be explained by a Tattva-darshi Guru. So what do you mean by Tattva-darshi Guru? Tattva-darshi Guru is a Guru who is a seer of the truth. So by following a bona fide hearing process, all contamination which is there, which has gathered in our heart from so many births, it will be destroyed. And after all the obstacles are removed from our bhakti path by the mercy of Supreme Lord, then we are able to understand Srimad-bhagavatam, Srimad-bhagavatam and Caitanya-caritamrta. So we see a lot of time we listen from devotees that they are not able to understand Bhagavad-gita or Bhagavatam. So here again Shri Gour Govinda Maharaj laid emphasis on the very important aspect that unless and until you have the blessings of his divine grace, unless and until you have the blessings of the spiritual master, unless and until you have blessings of Vaisnava Acharya, unless and until you have blessings of Lord Krishna himself, you will never be able to understand Bhagavatam or Bhagavad-gita. So whenever we want to understand any of these scriptures, we have to go and surrender to a bona fide guru, bona fide disciple, and we should follow a proper disciplic chain so that a proper and correct knowledge is transmitted from them to us. Otherwise, there are a lot of misconceptions that can be formed, and distorted and misinterpreted explanation of several of our scriptures are given by so-called many intellects, many philosophers. So we have to be very careful when we seek the spiritual path, that we follow the authentic parampara, we follow the authentic disciplic chain of succession, so we are able to understand the deep philosophy of all these spiritual scriptures available in our Vaishnava Siddhanta. So we have talked about two tattvas, now we talk about the Nam Tattva, what Gour Govinda Maharaj told about these. So these are the exact quotes which Maharaj told about the Nam Tattva. If you do not associate with the sadhu who chant the pure name, who is on the highest stage of prema bhakti, you cannot chant the pure name. If you are associating with asadhus, which are non-devotees, then when you open your mouth to chant, on the only the alphabet is coming out. So what he means to say is that even if we are chanting, so if we are associating with a sadhu who is the highest stage of prema bhakti, then only we can chant the name of the Hari purely. That is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. But if our association is such that we are in contact more with the asadhus or non-devotees, then we may chant, but it will be only a mechanical. That means even when we are chanting, so only words will come out, but what actual benefit we should get from chanting this mantra, it will not be there. So he is saying that it is very important that what our association is with. When we chant, when we are with sadhu, then only we will be able to do the chanting wonderfully. Then he also quoted, if you are chanting the pure name, immediately you will see all beautiful forms of Shyama Sundar. Not only this, all the leelas will manifest before you. That is the test you are chanting the pure name. So he is saying that if you are chanting very purely, wholeheartedly, then you will be able to see the different forms of Shyam Sundar before you, and all his pastimes will manifest before you. But if you are chanting attentively, if you are chanting with your full mind and soul into it. For one who chants the pure name, who has a prem, will bound up Krishna with the pure of love, there is no question of falling down at all. He is completely attached and Krishna never leaves his heart. So here is very important, which he is saying is that who has a prema, who is very much surrendered to the lotus feet of Shri Krishna, Krishna will be bound by the rope of love with his devotees, and he will be completely attached to Krishna, and Krishna will never leave his heart if we chant the holy name, if we chant the Hare Krishna Maha-mantra very attentively. Then he is quoting from two different granths. One was Shri Harinam Chintamani, in which it is said, Mukhya Pate Jiva Paya Krishna Prema Dhana. The chief result of chanting the holy name is that one gets the treasure of Krishna Prema. So if we chant the holy name, then the treasure which you will get is Krishna Prema. Then in Shri Caitanya-caritamrta Antilila it is said, Nera Parade Nama Lele Paya Prema Dhana. If your chanting is offenseless, then also you will get the Krishna Prema. So if you chant Krishna Prema without offense, Shuddha Nam, and we have already understood that the Shuddha, that name is non-different from Krishna. Krishna and his name, Krishna and his pastime, Krishna and his form, both are same. Lord Krishna has very categorically said in Bhagavad-gita that one who considers no difference between my name, my form and myself is automatically entitled to come to my abode after the death. So this is what we see is being reiterated here, that if we chant offenselessly Shuddha name, with full prem, then we will get Krishna and Krishna will never leave our heart. One who chants the Shuddha name, pure name, his heart will be filled with mellow with Krishna ras, and they will always get the lotus feet of Shri Radha Krishna. Further, Gour Govinda Maharaj is giving the example of Mahaprabhu, in which Mahaprabhu was given 8 Shikshashtakam, in which the third Shikshashtakam is where it is said, Anamina Manadena, that we do not demand respect from others, we only respect others. We see everyone superior than ourselves. A real devotee is one who always sees everyone superior to himself. A devotee will see Krishna everywhere. And when we see Krishna everywhere, then automatically we pay respect to everyone. So here he is further quoting that a sadhu is the one who sees Krishna everywhere and everyone. Wherever he looks, such vision is called as Yaha netra pade taha Shri Krishna is Oriya. Arthat, wherever his eyes fall upon, you will always see the beautiful form of Shyam Sundar. So this can only happen if we have a attitude of Trinadapi Sunechana Anamina Manadena. So we have to be humble like a blade of a grass, which means if anyone walks on the grass, then it doesn't reciprocate, it doesn't revert back. That's why I wrote walking over me. Anamina Manadena means we have to be such that we always pay respect to others, but don't ask respect from them. We have to be humble like a tree, that if anyone throws a stone on the tree because it is laden with a lot of fruits, so tree will never reciprocate and it will never throw back the stones on them. So in that mood of mind only one can chant the offenseless name, one can chant non-offensively, one can chant with pure determination the beautiful name of Shri Krishna, and when we are able to do so, then Shri Krishna will never leave our heart and he will always be with us. So Caitanya-caritamrta again it quotes, Ei mata hana yai Krishna nama laya Shri Krishna chade tanara prama upajaya. If one chants the holy name of Lord Krishna in this matter, he will certainly awake his dormant love for Krishna's feet. So this is, in this shlok it is being told to us that if we chant very attentively the holy name of Krishna, then what will happen? This will happen that the dormant, because when the Jeev appears in this world, after coming in contact with all 3 guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna, Satoguna, he usually forgets what he is, what his actual identity is. Our actual identity is, that is mentioned again in Caitanya-caritamrta, Jivera Swarupo Hoya Nitya Krishna Das, which means the origin, the actual form of Jeev is that he is actually the eternal service, he actually the eternal servant of Shri Krishna. We are always in the eternal service of Shri Krishna. But when a Jeev comes in this material world, he gets contaminated after interacting with all three gunas, he forgets his real identity. So that real identity can be evoked, that real identity can be awakened when we chant the name of Shri Krishna offensively. Then that dormant love which we have forgot will actually awaken, and we will be able to get the lotus feet of Shri Krishna. This is a very important Nama Tattva, that once we have done this, then only we will be able to achieve the then what he talked about the Gaur Tattva. So here he started with the saying that Krishna gave his final teachings in Bhagavad-gita, Sarva Dharma Pratyajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tvam Swar Papebhyo Mokshyami Mashucha, which means that Arjun, you abandon all religion and surrender unto me, and I will deliver from you from all sinful reactions. You do not fear. But when Shri Krishna wrapped up his Leela of Dwapar Leela and he went back to his abode, so he told only theoretically that you do this. if you will do this, I will abandon you from all sins. But then the question arises how to understand it practically. So to teach it practically in the Kali Yuga, because we know that in Kali Yuga how people are. So teach that theoretical, actually in practice. Shri Krishna came in the form of Gauranga Mahaprabhu in the mood of a bhakta, in the mood of devotee in this Kali Kal, to distribute the Gaur Prem, to distribute the Krishna Prem without any discrimination, without any differentiation to all the people. So in this way, to teach the teachings of Bhagavad-gita theoretical, in a sense, to teach it practically, Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu came with his associates in Navadvip Dham. So here he is saying that only the mood is different. Krishna and Gaur are same. So he is saying that Krishna Lila is Gaur Lila and Gaur Lila is Krishna Lila. There is no difference. If anyone who differentiates between them, he is actually a fool. Krishna will comes in one kalpa. If we see our Vedic calendar, so Krishna appears in kalpa, that is in Dwarika. Similarly, Gauranga Mahaprabhu also does not come in every Kali Yuga. So this Kali Yuga is very important, which is called as Dhanya Kali, because in this Kali Kal, Mahaprabhu has himself appeared to teach practically, to teach the significance of Hare Nam Sankirtan. So we are very fortunate that we have actually witnessed that Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only appeared only 500 years back. So this is the time actually we can take from this, and we also start understanding the importance of Hare Nam Sankirtana. So here again he is mentioning that it is very important Kali Kal, Dhanya Kali, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has appeared himself. In other type of Kali, only a portion, that is only a plenary portion of Gauranga will appear to introduce Yug Dharma. But he cannot give the Vraj Prem. But this is very important Kali, because Mahaprabhu has himself appeared. He has not sent any of his plenary portion. He himself appeared. Because Krishna has said that no one can give the Vraj Prem but himself only. So if we want to have that Vraj Prem, then only Krishna can impart. Otherwise there is no other means by which we can get it in this material world. So if we want to get the Krishna Prem, that is a Vraj Prem, then only Krishna can impart. So Krishna has come in the form of Gauranga Mahaprabhu to distribute that Vraj Prem. So there is no difference between the Krishna Lila and Gaur Lila. Even Krishna, so Gour Govinda Maharaj is saying that Gaur Lila is even more merciful and relishable Lila than Krishna Lila. Only in Tattva there is difference. Rest all is same. So Navadvip Leela and Vraj Leela are both Krishna Leela. And further he mentions that Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, who are dear associate and our acharyas, have discussed this Tattva in detail. And finally we talk about then the second last is the Jiva Tattva. On Jiva Tattva he said, he has quoted a lot of examples of Srila Prabhupada stating what is the origin of Jiva. So Srila Prabhupada has established that in the Srimad-bhagavatam also, where he says that the conclusion is that no one falls from the spiritual world or Vaikuntha, for it is that one who gets the spiritual world, he will never fall from this eternal world. So he very boldly proclaims here that whatever conclusion is his spiritual master A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada has mentioned in Bhagavatam about the Jiva, he also accepts that. And finally is the Prema Tattva. So in this material world we know that everyone is craving for the sense gratification. Everyone wants to satisfy his senses. Nijendra Priti Vanchana, that is lust kama. If one develops a desire to give pleasure to the senses, Krishna, then that is prema. So there is a difference between two. One is that if you want to satisfy, if you want to do the sense gratification of our senses, then that is called as kama. But if we want to use our senses for the sense gratification of Krishna, then that is called as prema. So he is quoting a difference between hell and heaven, that is Swarg and Nark. So the same difference that exists between Swarg and Nark, hell and heaven, same difference appears between Kama and Prem. So they look alike in the same way as pieces of glass and piece of diamonds look alike. So if we compare a diamond and glass, they both look alike, but diamond is diamond and glass is glass. So glass is kama and diamond is actually prema. So if we want to have a desire for pure love, unalloyed love, then we have to surrender to Krishna. Further he talks about Radha Krishna, he talks about the gradual development of attachment where there are different stages. These stages are called as prema, rati, sneha, man and pranaya. So first stage is called as rati. When it becomes more condensed, then we have sneha, which is called as affection. When sneha becomes more condensed, then it is called as mana. And when mana becomes more condensed, then it is called as pranaya, which means attraction. And when pranaya means more condensed, then it becomes raga. And when raga becomes more condensed, it becomes more condensed. And when anurag is more condensed, it becomes as bhava. And when bhava still become more condensed, then it is called as mahabhava. So this mahabhava is the 8th and final place of the development of the transcendental love. So this very beautifully Srila Gour Govinda Maharaj has explained. We'll just go through it once again. So he has categorized the 8 stages of getting the ultimate transcendental love for the lotus feet of Sri Radha Krishna. So he said that when we have a first stage, it is called as rati, which means attraction. When we develop further interest, that is, it becomes more condensed, then the rati changes to sneha, which is affection. When sneha changes, it becomes more condensed, it becomes to mana. Mana then changes into pranaya. Pranaya then changes to raga. Raga then changes to anuraga. Anuraga then changes to bhava. And then bhava changes to mahabhava. So this mahabhava is the 8th and final place of the transcendental love. So further he is saying that devotees who have been fortunate enough to rise to the spontaneous service of Godhead, which is called as Raghunaga Bhakti, have developed the attraction for Madhurya Prem, and they follow the steps, confidential steps of associate of Srimati Radharani and their assistance in Manjari. Then he talks about the Bhava-bandhan. The Bhava-bandhan is the loving tie, loving bondage between the lover and the beloved. It cannot grow, it is deathless, and it cannot be destroyed. So this is the prem. So again, here what he wants to say is that our prem or our love is actually eternal for Krishna. It will never be destroyed. Once the only thing is that we have forgotten. That is in the dormant stage. So if we chant offenselessly, if we chant with full devotion, then that awakened love will gradually develop, and we will get the prema bhakti of Shri Krishna. Then he says that this unconditional love is not available in the material world, because in this material world all things are subject to destruction, all things are temporary, nothing is permanent. So if we talk about this material world is actually the perverted reflection of the spiritual world. Perverted means which is totally different. What we have talked about, the difference between kama and prema. So kama is actually material, but prema is spiritual. So when we talk about kama and prema, so kama is just what we talked earlier, that they are actually, if we talk about kama, it is like a diamond, it is like a glass, and prema is actually diamond. So if we see with our physical eyes, they appear both to be same, they both are reflecting. But the actual, if we see that in terms of material cost also, a diamond is very far more costlier as compared to a piece of glass. So in this world where everything is temporary, everything is destructible, we have to understand our actual motive of life. What is our actual motive of life is. So our actual motive of life is very beautifully explained in Shri Caitanya-caritamrta, which states that Jivera Sarupahaya Nitya Krishna Das, that our actual form is that we are eternal servant of Lord Krishna, and we have gained this human form of life to understand that fact, to revive that fact, that what is our association of Krishna. It is not This form of life is not been given for taking a lot of pleasures, for seeking sense gratification. This human form of life is with us to understand that what is our actual motive of life. Our actual motive of life is that we want to understand who we are, why we have come to this world. We have to understand the cause of, which is called as Jara, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. What is the cause of old age, birth, death and disease? Why are we suffering from all these, and how can we get free from this entanglement of life and birth again and again? So our main motive of this human form of life is to understand who we are, what is our loving relationship with God, who is God, and how we can go back to Godhead. Because Lord himself is very merciful. He has given us a free will. Through that free will we can choose either we want to continue to stay in this material world, or we want to go back to home, back to Godhead. Because here, like in Padma Purana, we see that we have 8,400,000 species available, where according to his karma, according to his sense pleasure, according to his sense gratification, one can go continue in that cycle, and we don't know from how many births we are going like that. But this human form of life we have got, so we should utilize this at the most, and we should try to get the Krishna Prem during this birth, so that we can go from where we actually belong to, that is back to Godhead, Goloka Vrindavana. Hare Krishna.